All right, I launched.
Did you?
And
But did you really?
We are live. We are live. We are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 35 of the Game Talk Podcast, Season 2. How is everybody? I hope everybody is doing good tonight. I do appreciate you guys coming by. What's going on? Topics tonight to talk about. There's a lot of topics to talk about, actually. I first off discovered a YouTuber by the name by Yan Lee. You ever heard of him?
No,
I've never heard of him.
Yan Lee.
He sounds kind of boring.
He is a very analytical. He's a very analytical person. I was actually looking.
Oh God.
I was looking at his videos. No, it's good.
Okay.
So is that the one that says if I rape you in the ass and give you candy, you should be thankful for the candy?
No.
Okay.
That's Amos Yee. No, we're not talking about.
That's
Amos
an interesting
Yee.
one.
Yan Lee is probably one of the best analytical, pseudo game journos I've ever seen. He gets on here and he actually does the work. He goes out and tries to research things. He gets a hold of studios that were involved with some shit, and then he talks about it in the video. But he doesn't just talk about it in the video. He shares the experiences of those that reached out to him. You know what I mean? And the way he goes into the depths on this, and he's so well spoken with what he says, it's actually really nice and refreshing to see. I'm so used to seeing people like this as critic channels critiquing other channels, you know what I mean? And that's not the case here. He's actually doing what we have always what we've always tried to aim to do, and he does it really well. So I think, if you guys haven't seen it, let me see if I can find his channel real quick. Is there anything you guys had for topics tonight?
I always have shit for talks, man.
You always have shits for talks?
That's right. It's the way I roll.
Meow. What did you want to talk about?
Well,
I've been dealing with my computer like all day, so I got nothing.
Fair enough.
Been having a long conversation on Twitter today about, I guess somebody put out a poll about, some Xbox guy put out a poll that said, since it's been about a year since PS4 Pro launched, has it met your expectations, exceeded, below, whatever? And for the most part, it was actually a pretty respectable conversation back and forth. But we're talking, my mentions probably went up like, I don't know, maybe 300 today, just from that thing, because we was all having a good conversation. But then in strolls one person that he has a damn hammer and sickle in his damn Twitter handle.
Yeah.
And I just like, hammer and sickle, like, really? It was like, and then he never responded. I don't know, like 6 hours later, he's like trying to change the conversation. I'm like, for what? Like, dude, you're like fucking 6 hours late. And I was like, and still, I was like, it just kind of threw me off because you know, why would you pick a hammer and sickle, like one of the worst fucking governments that has ever been thought of. Murdered more people than anything that I can possibly fathom or even remember. I was like, I just don't understand like why that would be the one thing that you pick. And he's like, you're just trying to change the conversation, as if I was losing some sort of argument. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but you just keep doing you apparently and whatever. But he said that he's in Germany and he likes the damn communism.
What?
Like, how does that work? How does that work out?
How are you in Germany? You enjoy communism. Germany isn't communist.
I don't know.
They're right on the lines on the fringe of communism and socialism. That's hence why they're like up in flames right now because of all of the Muslims that they've allowed to come in and do whatever they want.
Didn't there used to be a wall, Germany, separating a communist side from a non-communist side?
Yep.
I seem to recall. I wasn't there or anything, but it's amazing how history class didn't teach anybody this.
I know. It's like, seriously, like what it's really so confusing to me that history just leaves out like communism. I don't, or just
especially in Germany. Like obviously these Germans never learned about this.
I know it's kind of fucking scary considering Germany's history. I mean, I know that they weren't ever a communist country, but they definitely fascism and communism really aren't. I mean, they're very far apart within like what their goal is, but the end result is going to always usually be the same: death. So I mean, I just don't understand how. So you can't in Germany you can't talk about Hitler, the swastika, but you can openly promote communism.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Totally makes sense, right?
Wasn't Hitler like one of the main reasons why communism looked so bad to begin with? Because they saw what happens when somebody has too much power. Like, I mean,
kind of, but they called his fascism, which in a way it was, and it is.
Yeah, but I mean, communism, anyways, is when you don't have the free speech to criticize the ones around you because you could get fucking killed.
Communism, fascism really are wrapped together in
it's the same
interchanging swirgle.
But communism is always fascist.
Yeah,
always. Yeah,
but fascism isn't always communism.
Exactly, but that's the sleight of hand that they've been doing for a while. Well, they say fascist, but they mean right-wing fascist, and then by that they try to insinuate that all fascism is always right-wing, and somehow the left wing could never be fascist. No, it's communism. It's different, guys.
It's weird. It's really weird.
It just hasn't been tried the right way. I swear.
You know what's funny is it's really weird. Like this kind of thing has been coming up a lot. I was watching a video today, actually. Excuse me, of a young kid getting confronted by, and she was a millennial. I think she was a college student. She was saying, you know, yes, communism, you know, that how she wants to live in a world that's communist. And the guy that is questioning her is the one that is from Russia. And he said, and so he was a part of a lot of the big problems over there.
The USSR?
In the USSR, yeah. And he's confronting her, right, about this shit. And she had no fucking idea what she was talking about. He called her out on her shit. She was getting insulted. She felt like she was being insulted, and I'm just like, what?
Because these people have been like baby fed communism. Like they've been spoon fed, baby fed, whatever you want to call it, to where they've made it look like it's really about equal rights and everybody gets a little equal share, but.
But we all have though. Like even when I was going to school, they were trying to preach that shit, and I was like, I wasn't having it. Like
when I went
communism was just a different type of economical, implementation. It was capitalism on one side and communism on the other. And,
it was
oh my god, dude, yeah.
But whenever I went to school, though, I mean, they really taught like really heavy against communism, because I remember I went to school whenever USSR was, tear down that wall. I was in school back then, so I mean, communism was really on the forefront of our education, where we got taught really the bad parts of communism. And I don't really know what, like, over the course, people have, I guess, decided to think that communism and capitalism are somehow closely resembled if they could just be ran correctly. I don't understand that, because communism and capitalism are polar opposites.
Yeah, capitalism is about more like free trade, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like an overdramatic pyramid scheme, if you want to think about it.
Where
communism is straight up, there's one PowerPoint, only one person with that PowerPoint has all the rule, and we all have to listen to him. If we don't listen to that person, then we're fucked. We could actually die from that shit. Like, that is some serious shit. So I'm trying to figure out how they think that this is a good idea. Like, you guys, I mean, this is pretty much communism. Trump being the ultimate power and the law of the land. And we have to listen to this idiot on every fucking little thing that he does and says. And if we disagree with him, he could come to your house and kill you. That's fucking communism, dude.
And fascism.
And fascism, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The communism, I've never understood the communism not implemented correctly. Like, how many times you got to fucking try it before you... I mean... It's been tried and failed so many times, and there's no way that every single one of them just got it wrong. Like that's the way communism runs. There's no way. I guess in a perfect world, communism would be great. It could be in a perfect world. But anybody who would ever be at the head of the Communist Party is always going to be, as soon as you get all that power, it's going to change the person. There's not going to be a person up there that's going to be able to go, okay, I have all this power, but I really care about the people. It's never going to do that. No human nature won't allow it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
it makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It just blows my mind. It's hard for me to get involved with people that like touting communism. I'm definitely not saying capitalism is I would definitely take my capitalism over communism any day of the week.
Right. Well, with a capitalist country, at least we are able to instill some sort of change. You know what I mean? There's a point of weakness in which the people can actually say something, speak up, and have laws protecting them for any sort of reaction to it. That's, like for instance, someone trying to, I don't know, kill us, over some shit. Like they can't just go and kill their own people. That's just not how it works in a capitalist nation. Where it's not so much like that in a communist one. It's just, I don't know what's so hard to explain. What's hard to understand that when it comes to people in general. It's really weird. I didn't think it was that hard to understand, really, because to some people that is just, I don't understand.
Apparently, like I said, like in schools these days, they kind of teach capitalism or communism as some sort of something to achieve or something. I don't know. So the way these people are all the young people seem to be gravitating towards communism, it just seems weird to me.
So my thing is name me one nation that has been flawless in communism and fascism. I want to know. No one can name me one country. Not one country has successfully done it. Not one. And I think that's and I think that's absolutely fascinating that we're still trying to push it.
Well, I mean, technically, in a technical sense, I guess all the countries that's done communism have successfully done it because human nature took over and it created what it was. Again, the only way that communism works in a way that these people think it's going to is if you actually have some sort of freak of nature at the head of the communist thing that simply just does not allow power to get to his head. And I don't know a single human like that.
Is the perfect intellectual human being.
Yes, and is
never wrong, or if they are wrong, they're always, willing to be. It's just impossible. There's no way. I mean, how could you possibly have somebody who ruled over everything, who could be smart enough to be the head of everything, but also you'd have to be humble enough to learn new things and be wrong, because you're gonna have to figure out problems that are gonna be pretty fucking difficult if you are the one that's on top of everything, right?
Right. I'll have to look it up.
I mean,
I'll have to look it up. I don't remember what the video is called. It was late last night when I watched it. It was kind of weird.
And Ogre, how's public schooling working out for us? Just saying.
We have one of the highest failure rates in any nation. We rank at the bottom. What was it, like the last time we looked at this Rambo? It was what, bottom of the 5th, like something like that. It was like something ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're actually low. We are extremely low in education. Highest in death penalty rates. We have the highest incarceration in the whole wide world. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on,
more
man.
than communist China, and that's something to think about for a hot minute.
And communist China isn't so communist.
Thank you, drug war, and thank you, Bill Clinton and your crime bill. That was awesome.
Like I said, communist China isn't exactly too communist when you talk to the people that live over there, and you watch these YouTube channels.
Dude, yeah, they're getting more capitalist every day.
Yep.
More and
more people are actually engaging in political uprising over there, and the government isn't.
But there's too much industry for the government to run. They figured it out. They can't run all that industry. There's no way to have a top-down approach because who knows what's going to be popular in manufacturing when other countries are your consumers. You never know when the next iPhone is going to be the next big thing. So at that point, it's either you never keep up with demands and you'll never make enough money,
Right.
or you start delegating down to private people to run larger, manufacturing sites, and then that pretty much you've just then created a middle class.
Or you become the corporate leader in said private organizations
Yeah.
that are being contracted
And then
out. That's what China's at right now.
companies have a structure and there's middle management, so there's opportunities to move up in the world, and you've already injected capitalism all the way through your entire system.
Yep.
And I mean, who knows how that'll play out in the end, but usually, I mean, Russia did the same thing, and granted, they're not perfect, but they're a lot better than they were, what 30 years ago?
Shit, like even 10 years ago.
Not even that. I mean, comparatively, they've been getting better for, like double as well every year or two. But I mean, since communism, good fucking lord, it's like a 10,000% increase or something.
If Ogre, like you said that at least people are getting a chance to learn, you realize that under Betsy DeVos, her plan that she's doing actually increases the ability for people's chances to learn and actually learn at a higher institution than to be taught the shitty education that they're being force fed now. Betsy DeVos wants to create a voucher system where basically the city is out, or the states, or excuse me, the federal government's out of the I guess play of it. And if like right now, like if you're in the ghetto, like the biggest problems in the ghettos are the school systems in the ghettos, because they are like underfunded.
They're toxic waste dumps for everything.
The worst fucking
teachers,
worst teachers go there. Nobody really wants that job. And
you can't get any of them out because of teachers' unions and rules and all. I mean, it's a huge hornet's nest of bad situations.
It allows those students and those kids that are in those areas to take that voucher, and if that school's not performing up to their standards, to take that voucher and go to a different school and say, "Here, I'm turning in my voucher money and paying for your tuition through vouchers." And you get your vouchers by the amount of income you have. The lower the income, the higher the vouchers you get, and you actually get more access to better education.
That's actually a really good idea. I didn't know that. I knew about the voucher system.
Dude, everywhere it's been tried, everything from grades to the amount of crime to the percentage of kids that drop out, everything is better for every kid nearly. And there's nearly no negatives. And they tried it in places like Harlem, and every kid was doing 1,000 times better than they were before. But you never hear about that because that would be a solution to a problem, and the Democrats aren't really interested in solution. Of course, neither are most of the Republicans. So
Ogre, when were you in high school? What years? Let me ask you that. What years were you in high school?
Like when were you in high school, bro? Like we're talking, dude. They were teaching shit classes when I was going to school. I'm in my mid-30s, dude.
I can tell you the definition of like what I was taught back in. Well, I mean, I'm talking like I remember. I'm older than everybody in here, so I mean, what I was taught in comparison to even what Brim was taught.
Oh yeah.
The amount of education that went down in that amount of time is a lot, and then to go from where I've been taught to where you've been taught is an increasingly amount going down. And like you're talking about, you weren't taught shitty classes. You don't know that you weren't taught shitty classes. That's the problem, is because I'm not saying that you were taught, you're not smart or anything or whatever like that, but they started teaching you to the test. You're not really learning as much as what you did back in like my day, and even before that.
Yeah,
and it's gotten worse progressively as time has gone along. So the younger you were, the more likely you had an even worse education than the people older than you.
And we just found out that since our kids here in Oklahoma actually scored low, we were actually having on the SATs, or ACTs, we were actually having more students testing at average or right below average. So now our school system thought, you know what, the best thing that we could possibly do, we can double down on teaching to the test, and we're actually going to even make it harder on the kids to taking these tests every year. So we're going to really drill home teaching to the test. I can ask my kids something that I learned back in 5th grade, and they're in like 9th and 10th grade, and they don't know because they were never taught that because it wasn't deemed important enough for the test. But yeah, I mean, you were
And it's
still
not like
trying
the test is even that great of a test.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not like
it's basically
a
to
test of
teach you
critical thinking or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's literally
it's
names,
basically to
dates,
see
formulas, and
basically
memorization.
teach me what you memorized this year, or recite me what you memorized. It's basically all that's for, and that's the problem with like your education or the education system we have now is that most kids don't even know they were taught a shitty education.
Man,
But
Discord is having
if
issues
you
tonight.
even go back to the further back where you're in the ghettos, they're getting terrible fucking education. Like you might consider yourself like where you grew up in the ghetto, and I don't know where you grew up at, but if you go to like South Central, their schools are among the worst, and the graduation rate, everything is just down because you have teachers that really just don't give a shit. They're there, and they were put there because they scored. They were teaching. I guess their students were getting lower scores on the test and shit. So they moved them to the schools that nobody wants to teach at.
He's not saying public school's a bad idea.
No, I'm not saying public school's not a bad idea. It just needs to be completely reworked.
There has to be competition, and the problem is that the public school system has systematically, monopolized education, so that there is no competition. Well, Betsy DeVos's idea is the best idea I can think of because that's it. Now there's competition.
It's the only idea.
It's no extra cost to the parents. They get what they would have gotten through all the tax system. They just get it in a check, so they can take it to another school. That's
I mean, it's really the only alternative that we have to the system that we have now. Let me just say, the way that the kids are taught, teacher in front, students in a systematic line, has not changed since the inception of a school system.
And it was designed for factories.
Yes, it was designed to teach you to follow. There are no more factory
jobs left.
It was designed to teach you to follow orders.
Yep. Same thing with the bells. That's a factory bell that rings between classes.
It's also known as a millwork process. It's something that there's like a few channels that have already covered it where they actually they look at schools as indoctrinating you into the workforce early in life, so that way.
Which is
it's just fine. I don't mind that.
It's an okay. I mean, I don't like indoctrination, but yes, molding kids to be a viable worker is a fine objective for a school.
But that's all they were doing is at the lowest common denominator.
And there's no more factories left.
Yeah.
I mean,
we need a complete revamp.
If you go to these schools where you see students whenever they're being taught in class in a circle, or they're in different little circles where the kids are all working together, and I mean it becomes like a collective brainstorm. The graduation rate, the achievements from those students greatly outnumbers any of the public school systems that we have right now, or any of the public school classrooms that we have right now, because you're not taught to creatively think. You're not taught to think at all. You're taught to, here's what you know, here's what I'm telling you, learn it, tell it back to me. That's all you were learning. That's all you're being taught.
Just memorize it.
Yeah. And it's sad. I mean, it's sad because like these are the people that are going to be leading our workforce, and the innovation that the Americans once had. As you notice, I mean, the amount of innovation that we've done here in America has actually decreased over the years.
Yep.
And it's because whenever the kids get out of school, they weren't taught to creatively think.
They actually actively discourage it.
Well, yeah.
Stop daydreaming.
Creative thinking.
That is literally telling a kid, stop thinking.
Well, creative thinking leads to more than just the creative thought process. It's about it leads to questioning things. It leads to
the school system is designed for you not to question authority.
Yep.
And that's my beef with government school systems. Here's the thing: how is a government school system supposed to teach anything that could potentially disrupt the government that's currently in place, even if that would be a good thing, like that we would think of, like say ending slavery, or as the school system has gotten more and more connected with the government, it has increasingly taught more and more that government is a solution to every problem.
Yes.
Government's always the answer. Government is always good. And, everybody needs to subject their collective will to the government, because That way we can keep ourselves safe and shit like that. And it's fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just I mean, it's something that we really need to work on as a nation, because I mean, if not, I mean, we're going to be overlapped by these other countries that we've always been way ahead of, and it's getting damn near close.
Dude, it's over a full lifetime since we've been ahead of anything. You know what I mean? Like, even when I was going to school, we were starting to go down the shitter. That's when everything started falling apart. You know, like I said, I'm in my mid-30s, so school for me.
Yeah.
School for me, it was like
I had a
already
unique
going down.
perspective on it, because I had a Catholic private school until 5th grade, and then I was in a public middle school. But my schools were always outside of the district, and so they got the real smart kids because they always had the most advanced programs because they weren't limited by the district. But they also got all the rejects from the public school system because they could get one last chance if they were expelled from one of the district schools in either my high school or my junior high. So I went to school with like some of the smartest kids in the county and some of the dumbest ass kids in the county. And both of them were weird ass schools. But I saw the progression. Like, I remember in 6th grade, we did a whole like 2 weeks on Islam and how it was the religion of peace, and how, you know, the whole shebang, dude. The whole shebang. And we didn't spend any time on Christianity or even Judaism.
You said
the only other religion. Yeah, 6th grade.
Then 3 years later, they blow up the fucking World Trade Center.
Bruh, I'm telling you, I'd never seen anything like it, man. The only other religion or any other like belief system that we even covered as close to as long as that was like maybe 2 weeks combined on like Greek and Roman mythology, because there's a lot of gods and it was like a big time period. And as far as like ancient history goes, that's the only, maybe a little, because we didn't really study Egypt, so we didn't really get into any of the Egyptian mythology. But yeah, other than that, we didn't spend any other time on any other religions or anything. And yeah, it was fucking crazy, dude. And I could remember thinking to myself, like, this is bullshit.
And see, that's the thing. Like, and if you notice, the position of power always switches. That's when education either gets better or gets worse. When the Democrats majority rule, education gets dumbed down. They devalue a lot of different things like art and a lot of different things. And I know that sounds weird, but think about this, because I live in Arizona, right? Because Arizona legislation didn't follow everything that Obama wanted, Obama cut arts and different types of education programs in the state of Arizona, the funding for them. So Arizona had music. And so they had to actually modify their education system based on the funding they got out here. And in the state of Arizona, teachers were the lowest paid in the union, period, bar none. No other teacher was being paid as less. And there was a huge fucking exodus of educators from Arizona moving to California. They had the highest premiums for insurances. They carried the highest amount of out-of-pocket expense for resources in schools. Self-funding classes. I mean, it was all because the state of Arizona didn't want to fall in line with what Obama wanted. So Obama said, fuck you then, and guess what? You guys don't get good education. Fuck off, you know? So that's what happened.
Could you imagine, Grim, oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, no, I was about to tie it up, so go ahead.
I was going to say, could you imagine if your job forced you to move to California?
I'd be quitting that job.
Dude, what I love is how unbelievably pissed people are getting when Trump says something like he's going to cut federal funding for states that are sanctuary or cities that are sanctuary. Yeah. And yet they were perfectly happy with Obama. Seriously, cutting fucking children's education as a political riposte for because some on petty fucking shit too, and shit that had nothing to do with school systems.
Well, it was a lot to do with Sheriff Arpaio, dude. Sheriff Arpaio, when he was our sheriff, he was doing all the right shit to the T, to the law, and fucking.
He was the one that had the pink jumpsuits for the workers on the side of the road and shit, right? Yeah. Which I mean,
you go to prison, dude. You're not there to fucking.
I mean, seriously, as hurtful as his methods are, and I mean, it's not the worst thing, but it's not the best either. But
bro, he had the highest
they're
turnaround
non-violent
rate.
and they fucking work. Yeah, his results spoke for themselves, and he didn't have to, no torture, no guards being good old boys beating people with billy clubs or chain gangs or whatever. I mean, it's relatively harmless compared to some of the other shit that would be a scandal or whatever.
Exactly, and the thing was, Obama ordered him not to arrest illegal immigrants. He ordered, and it's like, so you're ordering the man not to go with the fucking laws of the state. You want him to follow your law, right? Like, that's what it came down to. And that's why he was put under investigation, and that's why there was a scandal. Because Sheriff Arpaio was pretty much telling Obama he could literally go fuck himself. Like, that's exactly how Arizona is, though. Like, Arizona's like that, and so is Texas.
He sicked Attorney General Lynch on him, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, Lynch, such an upright, moral person. I'm sure that meeting in the plane with Clinton was, just about grandkids and shit. I swear to God,
the crazy
dude.
Shit,
I swear to God.
The crazy shit is this, man. Like, Obama was he did as much good as he did bad, and nobody wants to look at the bad parts. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to realize that.
I'd say the bad far outweighs the good, but I mean that point I could argue.
That's
yeah,
fair.
but
fair.
Nobody does however big, nobody wants to look at his bads, no matter how much bad they want to acknowledge, whether it's one thing or 1,000 things.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. They're so bad because his whole. Oh my God, the whole following around him was based on nothing more than race.
Yep.
He was the great black hope, and why have a great black hope, you fucking retards?
I agree.
How about just have a hope? Have a great hope, whoever it is.
Yep. I mean, look at the thing with sanctuary cities he was trying to do. Arizona and Texas got hit the hardest because both states were like, you could go fuck yourself, Mr. President. Like, both states were straight up like, no. Like,
Texas is, I mean, they are always like 1/2 step away from seceding.
Yeah, same with Arizona. Arizona's in the same
I mean, to be fair, because Texans.
Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Arizona put the ice cream guy as its fucking senator or whatever.
Yeah, dude used to own a Cold Stone or something.
Over a Democratic election. Like, that's the only other person that they could have put in there was a Democrat. And we went as far as hiring the Cold Stone guy, and he's a corrupt motherfucker. He's a piece of shit. But they wanted him.
Cold Stone's out in Fort Mojave, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. That's his shit. Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, the guy's a piece of shit, but yet people would rather have him than a Democrat. That's how fucking skewed the views on politics in this country are. Like, I don't necessarily discount a Democrat from anything. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Democrats mean well, and I also know Republicans mean well.
I don't give them that. But to be fair, I don't give anybody that.
Okay,
but,
well, I mean, who else is gonna be in power? Like, you
man,
don't.
I don't like any of it.
Dude,
become a career path, man.
Bro,
that's
but you don't see any independence anywhere, though. That's my thing. Like, the independent parties and shit, like, they don't fucking get involved with communities like that. Almost everybody that's involved with some sort of charity work is either a Democrat or a Republican. Period. I have not seen an independent party member getting involved with its community. Yeah, they can talk a good game and they say what we like to hear, but do you see them fucking out there in the trenches fucking trying to get people to look at them as much? Not really. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, independent parties are great. Like, I think some of those guys have the best ideas, okay? Like, those are like right around the libertarian mark, and that's kind of like what a lot of people have said.
Well, we need a good, as much as I hate third parties, we need a decent enough third party that it makes both the Republicans and the Democrats have to shape themselves up.
So wait, hold on. Like, that doesn't even make sense, because you're saying that you're not really for either party, right? Like,
no, I'm not. That's the thing. I'm for whatever benefits the U.S. the best, right? And that might be a Democrat or Republican or an independent, depending on the time or the place. Like, Trump was the best option right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discount anybody, Kinda, right? I mean, obviously there's people that I'm never going to vote for ever, like Hillary Clinton. But, you know, aside from that, I don't want to put labels on anybody, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Right now, the Libertarians, their party is shit. Like, Gary Johnson was the worst fucking choice ever.
Well, and so was what's her face?
You know,
the green chick. She was part of the Green
Oh
Party.
God, Jill Stein. Yeah.
Jill Stein, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, she
Dude,
started
she was
off...
all in for Hillary though, because she was the one going over those recounts and shit. So I mean, even her was just kind of, she wasn't even really running to run.
Bro, like, it's weird. It's strange.
I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. How much longer is this even gonna last before something happens?
Yeah, I got a question. Like, seriously, War. How, tell me when your fingers start hurting, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. I know it's you, dude. I already know it's you. I recognize your patterns. The jig is up. You're hilarious. We get it. But yeah, seriously though, dude. Like, it's got to a point right now where with the political spectrum, it's like it's so fucking skewed, dude. Like a Democrat and a Republican isn't the same as it was back in, like, when I was going to school, right? Like, Republicans back in...
I think Milo's right when he says people are aligning more on authoritarian versus libertarian.
That makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah, it does, because it's people are giving up parties altogether, and they're going to go somewhere. So either a third party is going to become bigger, or a new party is going to emerge, or, you know, whatever happens. But I think the parties are going to shift pretty soon in this country. If, you know, something else does, you know, civil war or nuclear holocaust, or, you know, who knows, right? Like, yeah. So.
Yeah.
I think we're witnessing schizophrenia in text form. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, he answered me, so that's how I know it's him, so it's good. Dude, I think it's authoritarian. Like, I never thought I would ever be somewhere in a world where that would be a thing, but I guess it would make sense when you have too much of the snowflake mentality of people going in thinking that everybody, like, there should be more government taking care of them and pampering them and making sure they have everything they need. You know what I mean? Like, I guess if there's too much of that element, well, it's only logical for something authoritarian to come in and counterbalance that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I never personally thought I'd ever witness this in my life, to tell you the truth. I always kind of figured it would always be a fine middle ground, like it was when I was in school.
People screaming, the Hillary people screaming Trump is the next Hitler. This is why they cracked me up so bad. Well, because it's like, well, yeah, he could be, but so could the next person.
Well, if they keep,
and you're telling us that we all need to give up our guns. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But here's the thing: if Trump is going to be the next Hitler, right? It will only be because of the left fucking trying to paint him as a racist. It's going to get to a point with Trump where he's just going to be like, well, if I'm a racist, well, guess what? I'm going to put you guys in internment camps. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm game, man. Let's do it.
Right? Keep it up.
Right there.
Keep talking shit.
Okay, so right there, that what I just said and how this whole thing just played out, that's exactly what happened in Germany, dude. That's exactly what happened in Germany. Was because people were seeing what Hitler was doing. They agreed with them. They saw that their jobs were fucking disappearing, or they were getting fucked over because of their race, because they weren't Jewish, right? Nobody talks about that shit.
He got enough of a following, and I think part of it was because, oh man,
no one talks much about Hitler being a giant junkie and making decisions based on how stoned he was or paranoid he was.
Well, he was a World War I veteran too, bro. I mean, that shit fucked him up.
This dude had like different drugs for every hour of the day.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Playing around with all the good stuff.
You know, cocaine's a hell of a drug, man. You guys.
Hell of a drug, bro. I'll bet you his choice was like opium or something. Because dude, he really needs to calm down. Like, I bet you dollars that's if when he had his private moments, like opium or heroin or something was his drug of choice.
Yeah, I did a line with him once.
Rambo is
But
old
no,
enough to
there
do
was
it.
a Jordan Peterson or something video on like the rise of Hitler and some parts about it, and I think it was like partly like because because Antifa is the Antifa we know is the exact same thing that happened in Nazi Germany. And they were called the exact same thing. Yeah. They had the exact same flag, and they were doing the same thing that Antifa was doing, but they were doing it, I believe, to like communist, like Marxist communists.
Yeah.
Who were like, you know, maybe, you know, doing some slightly violent type things or something like that. And then because Hitler had gotten so big so quick and his movement grew so fast, that the Antifa and all the other groups that he controlled was able to clamp down, and then they voted in no free speech and shit like that. So yeah, it was fascinating learning about it, but
they had a special on
so
him,
terrifying how well it parallels what's happening.
Bro, they had a special
banner, dude.
Dude, they had a special on Hitler on the History Channel like a few months ago, and I watched it, the whole thing, and it is amazing in how much like schools cut out of your learning when it comes to learning about Hitler.
Oh, and they don't teach you at all about the Soviet Union or China at all, really, beyond like ancient China.
Oh yeah, we can learn about the Jade Dynasty, the Pyong, the ways of the Wu. Like we can learn about that shit, but heaven forbid we figure out why those...
South America either.
Oh no, dude! Like
we don't learn about Che Guevara, and we don't learn about Castro, and I mean we barely touched on Cuba, Castro, Cuba, and the missile crisis. But there was no, oh, Che Guevara was a friend of his, and they were both shitty commies who rounded up gays and blacks and whoever else and shot them all, and then put a bunch of people in internment camps and basically acted like mini Stalin or Hitlers.
Right.
Great. Yeah, you know, like.
And that's another thing. Like we didn't really learn a whole lot about the USSR other than the massive
Cold War. Yeah.
Cold War. Yeah, and that's about
it.
Oh yeah, and the
very end of it
reactor.
when things had calmed down and nobody really did anything to each other.
Don't even know the troubles I've seen. I was in NAM.
You were in NAM. I was a grenade.
And that's the thing. Like, there's this really good movie called Phantom, and it's kind of a slightly embellished true story about like I don't want to spoil it, and I don't want to go on about the plot, but it's like a near avoidance of like nuclear war between like say America and China because of the actions of a couple of guys in a Russian sub, and it's really, really good. And we have no idea like how many times something like that has happened in this world, you know?
Right.
And man, yeah, it's like people, these fucking commies and all these little champagne socialists and whoever else. Just all these fucking, they're all yuppies, dude. They're all yuppies going to Harvard and shit.
Idiots.
Yes. And they think they're better than everybody else, and they've got these ideas figured out. And you motherfuckers, you need to shut the fuck up and knock this shit off.
Well, look at the Communist Manifesto.
You have no idea how good you have it.
Well, look at the Communist Manifesto. All it says is good shit about communism. It doesn't teach you that, oh, by the way, if you have any uprisings, we could kill you. Like,
dude.
Oh yeah, you want food, you have to do exactly as you're told, or you're not gonna eat. Like, nobody talks about the bad shit. We already know. Like, here's the thing: in schools, communism is taught as, you know, it's not so much about your survival; it's about your community survival. What you buy, everybody could use as long as they don't break it, and you know, everybody's supposed to take care of things, right? It's literally like a village can raise a child type situation. Everybody's like a family. That's how it reads.
It's like being a child in a family.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It really is. That's how they want it. They want to be children, and everybody kind of pitches in, sorta, and the government becomes the parents or the grandparents, maybe, or whatever. You know, the head of the household.
Yep.
And it's like, ugh.
Dude, it's that way now.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Trust me.
Kids.
Bro, this shit's crazy when you think about it. It's like I don't understand why people are so hell-bent on this entire thing coming down like they want it to. And the thing is that they want to push for communism. You know how many dumb redneck Americans are going to have their fears realized? Like that's the worst part about all of this.
Like, the alt-right was created because of idiots like these Antifa protesters, and the media saying that it's all the alt-right fault and they're all Nazis and Hitler worshippers and blah blah blah. And it's like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen, guys?
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. If there isn't a neo-Nazi racist ground rebellion brewing, you're sure as fuck going to create one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll be at civil war for the first time since the first, you know, I mean, but it's going to be
how many white people have to get, near beaten because they had dreadlocks before some of them say, fuck this, I'm going to fucking go shoot some guns up at the Capitol or something. Come the fuck on.
America.
Right? The fact that we haven't yet is a testament to the 99.9% of the U.S. population's just unbelievable tolerance for idiocy.
I agree.
There were Trump supporters dragged out of their cars and beaten for no other reason than they had a Trump sticker on their car or had a MAGA hat on. Like, there was video of that shit.
Oh, yeah. What was that one guy that they said that he was a Trump supporter? They beat his ass and they discovered later that
it was some, like 48 or 52, or he was an older guy and he was bigger. And it's obvious he was not very physical. And they just yanked him out of it. I can't remember. It was like a light blue Corolla or something like that.
Yep, right in the middle of the street.
He voted Trump. Get him! And dude, like 6 dudes were on this guy.
Mm-hmm. And I think we've talked about this before, but I mean, the racial shit, like the racist shit is like beyond fucking stupid too. So you have the racial shit played against us. You have the political shit playing against us. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't been at war yet, to tell you the truth.
Right?
Yeah. Man.
And we all know who wins.
Oh, we do.
It's like 50% of the population owns more guns than there are people, and more rounds of ammunition. Like over this last Black Friday, citizens of the U.S. bought enough guns to arm the Marine Corps again.
Yeah, well,
and I think that's like number 3 that they've bought so far.
Don't forget, I mean, the Mexicans have their nunchucks too. I mean, that's a viable weapon.
Dude, and all the illegal guns flowing in from Mexico.
They're ninja tacos.
Ninja tacos, bro. Ninja motherfucking tacos.
I'm more scared of the ninja tacos than I am of anything else.
Me too.
Well,
I'm gonna be hungry thinking, shit, there's a taco.
The Mexicans with nunchucks were the worst attack of my life. Kinda. I mean, I have had guns drawn on me, and I have had knives and some shit like that, but certainly that was the most dudes who ever attacked me at once, and they were the most intent on hurting me. So I don't know,
cracked out Mexican with
the numbers certainly balance in the favor of the Mexicans with nunchucks. So who the fuck knows, right? Maybe Mexico will fucking invade us and say, "Give us back Texas and California, you fuckers," and we'll say, "Well, you can have California, but just leave us Texas, please."
My uncle was Hitler. What are you guys talking about? He was my great-great-great-grandpappy.
Yeah, I did a line with him back in the day, man. It was pretty good.
Oh, it'd be the coolest thing ever, right? You say, "I'm going to be the next Hitler." And if you're wrong, nobody cares. But if you are, you're the greatest prognosticator ever.
Yo, what's up, Eva Unit? Welcome, bro. How's it going?
He's been here. He's just been drowned by the,
Yeah, I barely saw like a tip of his conversation. Just ignore me, Eva, dude. But welcome.
I'm not even paying attention to it.
Yeah, Pete is actually Charles Bronson. Silence, you fucking
I have my own hater. It's kind of actually cool.
Oh man. So evidently, according to this YouTuber that I'm watching, which I found his channel if you guys are interested, his name, like I said, his name is Yang Yi, and his latest was 2 weeks ago on the CD Projekt Red dev speaks out against studios mismanagement. Now, do you guys know anything about that?
Well, they don't really have any DRM, right?
No.
I didn't hear part of what you said, so.
Oh, okay. So are you guys familiar with Glassdoor? I think is the site is what he calls it, Glassdoor, where it's like but for employees that work at establishments. In other words, if you're an employee at an AM PM and that fucking place pissed you off, you go to Glassdoor and you post
kind of like a Better Business Bureau, but for employees. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. He did well. So he got a hold of these ex-developers over at CD Projekt Red, and evidently there was some shit going down. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, their no DRM thing was a huge thing.
Wow.
And they've always, you know, they've always championed the idea of a truly, you know, progressive ways of doing things, right? Like it's. Some say it's backwards, some say it's progressive. I think it's a little bit of both, kind of. Well, anyways, so he goes into this huge synopsis of CD Projekt Red, right? And evidently, there was some crazy shit. So like there was like and you know how I think I've talked to Rambo about this, and I think I've mentioned it here a few times about companies mismanaging money, right? Where they spend too much, they go over budget,
like ARC or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what happened here. They ended up hiring a lead for every part of the design process. So instead of having a hired lead for a design, they had a lead for every part of that design. So it'd be a hiring lead in concept art, a hiring lead in story creation, a lead in fucking concept to sketches. Like it was ridiculous. It was
side quests.
Yeah, side quests or some stupid shit. When a creative director or a lead usually is in charge of all those things. You're usually in charge of how the engine's going to run. You're in charge of the concept art, whether you approve or dislike or you know, whatever. And then you're also in charge of story writing. So anything that's based on the creative outlet, you are in charge of as a creative lead. Well, instead of having it that way, they had like 30 different people in charge of all of the subsects of creative. So all their money went out the fucking door. All their profits that they made on The Witcher 3 has gone out the door.
Oh, sure, for salaries.
Yeah. And they opened up a second studio in Poland or whatever. And when they thought it would actually better the situation, it made it worse because they were working on the DLC for The Witcher, but then they put Cyberpunk 2077 on the back burner. So they were going to have a Cyberpunk game, which actually looks really fucking cool. I watched the CGI on it.
Yeah, it's like pixel art, kind of.
I don't know if it's pixely or not. I just saw the CGI trailer, and I thought it looked amazing.
It looked really fucking cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, that took place. They've almost gone bankrupt numerous of times, and the number one thing that saves them is the Witcher series. So like Witcher 1 and 2 saved them from bankruptcy, and then they were on the verge of bankruptcy with Witcher 3, and it saved them. But they always like get these lofty goals into what they want to do. And Cyberpunk 2077 is one of those lofty goals, and it's almost shut the studio down again for the third time. It's just insane to me that you think that these companies would fucking learn how to manage their money. Like, I mean, if you make millions, you know that's not, hey, let's go green light if we want to make more money, guys. Let's go fucking spend money at a bar and get drunk. Like, no, like, you got millions, you don't blow it because you have millions. You have millions, you put that shit away in a reserve somewhere, and you reinvest that money into your studio, right? I mean, sure, that's
well,
how
most it smartly. You finish a project before you move on to the next one, and you don't hire a whole bunch of people, because man, just hiring one person is hard enough for fucking McDonald's.
Well, in Poland,
let alone like making a game. Jesus.
Right, and in Poland, I guess like they chased out a lot of people. Like they chased out a lot. Like, you know how interoffice politics are,
probably
right?
Some of the best people too.
Yeah, you know how interoffice politics is though, right, on the job site. I'm sure, like where if you don't have a strong personality, people will walk on you, treat you like shit. Well, I guess the same shit's happened there, and I'm like, well, this is kind of what goes on in America on a daily basis, man. If you don't have a strong personality and you don't stand on your own 2 feet, they're gonna fuck with you. You know what I mean? That's just simple. I mean, it sucks. I'm not saying that that's a good or right thing to do, but that's what fucking happens. Well, I guess this happened in Poland with their studio. So they chased away, like, I guess they had Sony developers going over there. Some Sony developer studio members went over there and almost immediately got chased away for their ideas. So I guess there's a lot of shit going on with CD Projekt Red as far as the way things are going. And that sucks because everybody kind of figured like that what was going on over there was like this amazing thing, right? Like they're like, yo, like things have to be good over there. That game sold millions. It was a bestseller, still a bestseller. and now it's like fucking employees are coming forward like, yo, no, it's not that easy.
Sounds like they need to trim staff.
Yeah, well, man.
Start focusing. Yeah. I mean, you got Witcher 3 is. I mean, it's maybe not done. It could be DLC, but it's pretty finished. So you can devote all your time and energy towards Cyberpunk, unless they've got other projects that we don't know of. I want to see that game get
finished, because from what they want to do, they said that their engine that they use for The Witcher isn't powerful enough. That's how lofty their goals are. And it's like, well, maybe you should scale back your lofty goals and do it in sections if you have to. Do Volume 1, then Volume 2, or do DLC practices like you did with The Witcher, Make it to where, like, it's almost a whole another game. I mean, but from what I understand, that like, what they did with The Witcher is going to make, what was it, Cyberpunk. It's going to make Cyberpunk look like something from a sci-fi novel, like super advanced shit. So, I don't know. Like, I figure if they can make a game like Witcher look so goddamn beautiful, even the first one looks pretty. It plays like shit, but it's pretty, you know?
Clunky.
Clunky as fuck, yeah.
I really think, I don't know if the enhanced editions are the Witcher 3 engine.
No, they covered that. No, they covered that. What the enhanced versions are more or less just a finished game. That's all it is. So they
didn't touch the engine or anything?
No. So what they did was on the enhanced versions was, because that like they pushed back their release dates a few times, right? Like in some of these games are being developed. Okay, so what they did to meet deadlines was cut out portions of the game that were buggy as fuck.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so what they did was in the enhanced versions, they put all that shit back and fix it and make sure that it runs perfectly. So
that's what I hated about Witcher 1 and 2 was the control schemes and all that. Witcher 3, they fixed all that stuff. It was so much more fluid.
I need to play them. I need to play the first two before I get into the third one.
I have no intention of, because I want them made in the Witcher 3 engine, and that would not be hard.
Right.
If they did that, I'd be down. I'd buy the whole pack for like $80, all three. 1, 2, and 3, all in the Witcher 3 engine. I'd be down.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It is true. I mean, Rambo, usually when he debates people, he is not debating just one person. Usually it's groups of idiots that think that their all-powerful leader is flawless, right? Like, they're never wrong. That's why I've been avoiding Twitter, you guys, lately, except for when I post. Like, I only try to go over there and post what I want to post and then leave, because I know some stupid shit's gonna happen. So,
I figured that by me doing that, like, even if you put 10 stupids against me, then like they still haven't equaled a normal person at that point. So I mean, it's not really that hard, because I mean, they're all arguing stupid points, and so I think I don't know. I mean, it's just I just get tired of seeing like people just take a hobby that I'm passionate about, because it takes. I mean, y'all know my situation with my disability and stuff, but it takes a lot of gaming. Like, is a way for me to escape all the life that I have going for me now, and so to see people just take it and trash it because of some stupid fucking reasons and stuff like that, it gets me a little bit more passionate about it than say if I just saw just regular stupid shit anyway. You know what I mean? I get a little bit more into it than that, and I can't stand seeing people just willingly trashing the whole thing just because of you play on PlayStation or you play on Xbox. Is just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
True.
That's why it's really why I like, the only time I'll ever join in is when I see some stupid shit being posted about his family, or I see some stupid shit being posted about his disabilities, and then I'll jump in. But the reason why I think more than anything is the reason why we do what we do when it comes to Twitter is because it's that same exact mentality that we're going against, that actually exist in our Senate, right? Like in our Senate, there are a lot of ignorant people that don't know how gaming is. They don't even know about the community really. They don't know how a fucking computer.
They don't know how the world works.
Yeah,
there was a senator that thought an island would capsize if we landed too many troops and vehicles on it.
Oh God.
And there are dumber things than that. Like, ugh.
Right, like, and you put the same mindset and you put them on Twitter, and that's what we have when it comes to our Senate. We have the same sort of ignorance kind of plaguing the internet, and that's why I have the stances that I do. I'm pretty sure that's why these guys have the stances they do, is because not only do we have to witness the stupidity from in our own government, but we have to fucking always be correcting it online. As silly as that sounds, there's a good. I mean, I would rather correct somebody and feel like an idiot doing so, walking away that they now know the facts. You know what I mean? Some people say the internet's not that serious. Some people say that the internet shouldn't be taken that seriously. But look at this whole thing with net neutrality. Because people weren't taking the internet seriously, the government wants to intervene and regulate it a little bit more stricter than it was prior. Because of the ignorance of our Senate, we now have to face the idea that our internet access is going to be partitioned out and paid for separately in certain segments. And I think that's bullshit. That's not cool. That's not how the Freedom of the Information Act should be enacted, and that's how they're going to hide behind that. And that's exactly how these laws are being passed too. They're hiding behind our amendments without letting anybody know about them. Right? They do backyard deals. They do, some shady shit where there's no press conferences or anything involved. So that way people can, protest or anything, because they don't want to protest. They don't want people to question anything. So yet what we got to do is hope for the best that, with our stupid asses debating people over the internet, that we're actually encouraging people to look shit up and become more educated. That is why I do what I do usually. And I'm pretty sure that's the end result for everybody when they debate somebody over the internet. Like, you just want that person to walk away more educated than they went into it. You know what I mean? And
or even just one listener.
Even one listener could.
If you can just get one listener to Google something or look it up or whatever, yeah, man. The more people that know, the better, and the more voices there are, the better.
I talked, and so this could be a good segue. I talked to this guy that I've known for a long time. He's a long-time supporter of mine. He was a good customer of mine when I was working at the Blue Box building, and dude, it was really refreshing because he invited me over and we talked today, and he had no idea what net neutrality was. He had no idea. This guy's in his 70s, I think, now, and he's an old school fucking opium head. He loves opium. He's got back injuries, so he just pops opium. He don't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, opium. He's like, opium is my drug of choice. He's like, I don't give a fuck about all the other shit. I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Well, cool. That's the thing, dude. When you're, 60, 70 years old and you've got fucking cancer or an unhealable back injury or whatever, yeah, who the fuck does anybody else to stop him from taking pain medication or whatever the fuck?
I agree. So, me and him talked, and he had no idea. He doesn't understand internet language.
And period. Sorry, that's where I draw the line. Goodbye.
What happened?
No, that it's your rags person.
It's rags. Yeah, it's obviously not rags.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as It's Obviously Not Rags. I can do better. Come back to me later.
But yeah, so the guy had no idea about net neutrality. He didn't understand it. He's not up on the internet speaks or the technology wheel like we are. So I explained it to him. And he said, so you're telling me, he asked me afterwards, he's like, so you're telling me Netflix is going to start, or not Netflix, but Suddenlink is going to start charging me bit-by-bit packaging for certain things that I want to do with it. I'm like, yep. I'm like, if you want to check the email, bro, guess what? That's $5. I'm like, that's how bad it's going to get. He's all, no fucking way. I'm like, dude. I'm like, this is why it's important for you to stay up to date on the internet. And then he tells me today, hey, man, do you know how to change your Yahoo password? I'm like, bro, get the fuck off of Yahoo, dude. What's wrong with you? He's like, what are you talking about? I've had Yahoo for years. I'm like, dude, they sold your information then. I'm like, if you're on that list.
But everybody does.
I was like, no, but dude, Yahoo took it to that whole new level, bro. Come on.
Well, they've been hacked a couple times, weren't they?
They were hacked a few times, and
Yeah.
they later found
They've
out
had
that
security troubles for quite a
well,
while.
it wasn't just security problems. Their CEOs were in on it, bro. Come on, like their CEOs.
That's right. That's right. I remember. Yeah.
Even their newest one just got recently busted. For fuck's sakes, like. So he had no idea, right? He's like, well, it's a good email service. I'm like, dude, go to Gmail. I'm like, it's pretty fucking good. It's
Hotmail,
not the
dude. I still got my Hotmail.
So do I.
Oh, dear God.
Even though it's just
hey, man, I like my Hotmail, and I hate that it's Microsoft now, but fuck, it's still my same email address, so it still works for everything.
I still have it too, yeah.
It's my throwaway that I use for like everything.
Bro, I'm still receiving ads for dick pills, bro.
Right? Like, oh, dude, porn ads and fights. All my junk folder is all set up, you know. So it's great.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: had I kept
I've got
count,
a Gmail too, but you know,
had I kept count of all the princes that needed money for me to help them, dude, I would have been.
Oh,
I would have been royalty, bro. Like
I would have been a billionaire, dude. A billionaire. I could have bought a country.
Yep.
So many Nigerian princes with so much cash they needed my help with.
Yep.
Oh, the good old days of the internet. Wild, Wild West days.
The Wild Wild West days weren't too bad, though. They were pretty fun.
Oh, they were great, dude.
Yeah, they were pretty
56K
fun.
modems.
Hacking Diablo 2 servers so that way you could have a little miniature Diablo follow you around as a pet. I remember those days.
The white armor, bro.
Oh, the white armor.
Hex editors that got you the. You could create the.
I know. I remember the name too.
Yeah, you could create the items that had like not infinite, but a ton of attributes, and they were like the max that they could ever possibly be in the game. Not even in like what you could get as loot.
White armor.
Great. You couldn't do it in like ladder or anything because that was online only.
Yeah.
But yeah, for single player multiplayer or whatever that was, the open multiplayer.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fun for a while.
Dude, there was called Shogun. The Science of Shogun were the white armor, and I remember getting those things, and I used to be so happy on open BNet playing that game. Cause I didn't care about the hacking. That shit was fun to me. I was like, dude.
Like, yeah, it was open Battle.net.
Bro, like I had little Diablo with me. I had little Bale with me. I fucking had those guys equipped to fucking wipe out entire servers. Like, I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, bro, I'll go even further. The StarCraft editor that lets you tweak the custom maps and do impossible, quote unquote, impossible things, and that was what let him make all the infinite spawn maps and infinite crystal maps and shit like that. That was some fun shit tweaking around with that thing.
I remember when like it got so bad to the point where like if you were playing on open Battle.net, it would actually affect your single player game. So like you were getting these drops that were ridiculous, right? Like you'd be killing Diablo and you thought it was legit, and then you later find out it was actually the hack that they were using to fuck with you. It was like, yo, I just got some awesome shit just now. No, man, that was a hacked item. I'm like, what? Like, that ain't right. What the fuck? No, I miss those days. Those days are always fun.
And I was gonna make an Alien versus Predator map in StarCraft. And I was like, I was at least like halfway through it, man. I had hours into this thing. Didn't finish it before Warcraft 3 came out, and fucking, I just started playing Warcraft 3, but yeah, it was so cool. A couple of the aliens, a couple of the Xenos were Zergs.
Yeah.
And I had a couple Terran units be the different weapons for the humans and shit.
Oh, of course.
Predators were the Protoss, and like if you were the human, it was multiplayer, right? So you picked a class, like a minigunner or whatever. And so if you were a Terran, your mini map would ping, and I had the same exact. I recorded the sound that was in the Aliens movies for the motion detector, and that would ping every like 10 seconds and show you minimap pings where all the other enemy players were, and shit like that, dude. It was hella fucking tight.
Right.
Good times.
So.
Wait, Rambo, you're for real? The new UFC is gonna be pay to win?
Yep.
Fuck that.
EA's doing EA. They said that the beta was secretly, well, not really secretly, but sent out to several people. And throughout the beta, playing the beta, the loot boxes are in there, and they're reminiscent of the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, the way it was.
So, wow, you know what that's in response to, right? Like, so I got this information from the same guy. Let me see, because
you cut out.
Okay, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
So I got this information from Yang Yi again. He talks about the EA thing. Did you know that they lost over $3.1 billion from the shareholders? Like, their stocks plummeted during this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this was his thing that he just posted like 15 hours ago. He straight up like went into that whole detail thing, and I was just amazed by how much info is out there based on their financials when it comes to how much they lost off their shares when it comes to Star Wars. So what they're trying to do, I bet, is try to recoup that $3.1 billion. And UFC, come on, doesn't sell like that. But you know what? If they could get as much money as they can, that's probably what they were looking at. UFC's their property, and they could do what they want. But I got a feeling that EA is going to force the government's hand on this, dude. I think EA is going to be like forcing their hand so much to the point that they're going to regulate all fucking brands and franchises. So that's kind of worrying. I really don't want that.
Well, the Danish government came out and ruled that loot boxes are not gambling.
Yay! Danish government, you're not stupid! Woo!
But they are going to keep a close. They are going to keep a close eye on it.
All right.
But that's still heading in the right direction. But I mean, at this point, I feel like the Battlefront 2 really sent a message to EA. Well, it really didn't send a message to EA. It did indirectly, but it really sent a message to Disney. And really, I mean, the only reason like EA, has UFC is because they have that licensing with the UFC. You go on to most of their properties, and most of their properties are because of licensing rights with the main company.
Yeah.
I think that if we as gamers can kind of actually, I'm not really calling for a boycott, but so much actually of just sticking to your guns, whatever that may be. If you're against it, stick to it.
Whether you don't want to buy it at all, or you want to buy it but don't buy any, extra stuff or whatever. Yeah, whatever it is, just keep doing it.
Maybe if we can send enough messages to these corporations, not so much EA, but these other corporations that they're getting licensing from, we can change EA
or other gaming companies.
Yeah, indirect. Well, we can change the gaming the way we want it indirectly, and that's a better way to do it rather than trying to.
It's the same thing that's happened with DLC and every one of these practices.
Yeah, we just
one or two companies try some outrageous shit, and people say, "No, we're not going to pay for that," and the whole industry kind of calms down and things settle back to pretty much the way they were.
And EA has came out and said that the reason why they closed Visceral Studios was because when they came up and they looked at the Star Wars game that they had, they said it was linear, and they said that they have every bit of knowledge that gamers just don't like linear games anymore.
I love linear games.
They would rather have multiplayer games with loot boxes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is what EA actually said.
Is this a study done on Blizzard? Because I mean,
no, this is I guess an EA study done on EA.
It has to be.
I don't really know where the fuck they came up with this information.
Financials, dude. I bet you this is what they're getting it from. They're getting it from their financials. People are buying into Battlefield 1's fucking loot thing. I bet you people were buying a shit ton in Battlefield 4's. So I bet you anything, dude.
Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2.
I'm telling y'all, if y'all do own Battlefield 1, if y'all do play it, if y'all do any of these things with these games that EA already has a hand in,
this is your fault.
Please, but please, at this point, I mean, if you were buying into these loot boxes, and I don't begrudge you in any of that.
No, I'm not gonna begrudge them either. But they are part of the reason. They are part of the reason.
Stop, so that way we can somehow sit. I don't mind that you have a game because I firmly believe that you can buy the game and not support the loot boxes and still send the same message.
Yeah.
But please, for all intents and purposes, do not pay any cash for loot boxes because it's just sending EA the incorrect information, and they're going to continue being EA until somebody actually
until they see their balance sheet where
they just can't. Yeah, they just know
loot
something's
box
wrong.
purchases for all of their game is less than or fairly equal to the sales for their game. Yeah. When they, if they keep saying that the loot box purchases outweigh the game purchases, then they're going to keep going for more and more loot box stuff.
Yep. I mean, I'm vowing right now not to buy another EA game again.
I mean, I haven't bought EA since Battlefield 4, so Titanfall.
I'm actually going to cancel my EA
but that was on sale, and I haven't bought any loot boxes or anything.
Yeah, I canceled my EA access as well. I already did it.
I'm going to cancel my EA access. I'm going to quit buying EA games altogether. And I just think that at this point, somebody's got to send. We've got to send EA a strong message. We did pretty good with
3.1 billion is what we cost them so far. So I mean,
yeah, I mean we did pretty good with Battlefront 2, but we got to. I mean, obviously because they're doing it with
they didn't get the message.
UFC, we haven't really sent the message home, and we just have to actually send the message home.
Yep. I mean, like I said, $3.1 billion, that should have been a message big enough, but I don't think it was. I think they made like $8 billion last year or something like that. I mean, we're not like really cutting. I mean, we're cutting into them, but not to the point of like where they're like.
And it's not like stock. It's not like stock drops.
No, that's what it is. That's where their money is coming from. That's where they lost it.
No, I know. But the stock hits that they're taking, it's not like those hits will be permanent.
Oh yeah.
A loss of sales is a lot more, like that gets a company's attention a lot more than a stock price drop. Because stock price drops happen all the time for a lot of different reasons. And usually they go back up. Not always, but usually. So.
Yeah. I don't know. How's that Madden game so far, Shane? I need to get into that.
I actually enjoy it. The story is something refreshing.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of it, and I mean on my PS4, but it's definitely a new thing to the football game, which I actually enjoy that part because the football game was basically just always get your $6 roster update and go play again. But this one actually has like something a little bit extra added to it, which makes it a little bit more interesting.
What is with you guys in the chat? Seriously,
I don't know, man. They're all
like war. You need to calm the fuck down, bro. Like, relax, dude. Stop being autistic. Stop being retarded. Come on. I know you're autistic, but you need to calm the fuck down with that shit. Let's see. What else is there? Right. So the EA lost $3.1 billion.
It's that article that Rambo talked about.
Which article?
Oh, what was that?
Oh, this fits in with what we were talking about last podcast. The animation thing, or the anime thing.
That wasn't the last podcast. That was that one night.
Oh, well, sorry. I felt like a podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Sony acquired Funimation.
Yeah, Sony bought them a while back.
Well, apparently they finally came to terms or something because it's back in the news. So.
Yeah, it's theirs now. So now anime will actually become a little bit more mainstream. Not that it's really not, but I think you'll start seeing it in more and more areas that it previously wasn't.
Right.
Which is always a good thing. I mean, I guess it introduces. It seems like the kids really like it. I'm not saying that it's only for kids, but that's my daughter and my kids seem to really like the anime. So I'm kind of happy to see that because it's more. It'll make it more accessible to, I guess, the American audience than what it is now through just certain services.
Yeah.
I think with Sony doing it, because of the fact that Sony's more, I guess, understands like the American, Japanese, or the two halves of the globe type of business, that they have a way of being able to implement that into the American system without, I guess, being stupid about it. I guess they really kind of know more about what they're doing. So hopefully we can see more anime, I guess on like maybe regular TV. That would be actually pretty good.
Yeah, or like maybe better selection on stuff like Netflix and shit.
Yeah, just something. Just more.
It's great that Netflix has some, and they do have some of the choicest selection. But yeah, it is quite limited compared to some of the other.
Yeah, so if we can just get a bigger presence, I think it'll. Again, I'm not an anime person. I see no,
not yet, anyways, because you've been been dabbling in those RPGs, man.
Yeah, but it doesn't make me want to go watch. What's it called?
Sword Art Online.
Sword Art or anything like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't make me go watch an anime, but for the people, I know there's a lot of people that like it, and even my kids like it. So, I'm all for, different forms of, I guess, entertainment for people. If I don't really, as long as it's actually
usually got a lot better message than some of the shows on TV.
Yeah, as long as it's not something to where it's like crossing a line, then I'm all good for it. And from what I understand, a lot of the stuff that comes, like the anime that's shown here, is edited in a way to where it's kind of
culturally matches better. Yeah,
if it's more for the American audience.
It's a bad thing, but it's not always a bad thing.
Well, no, because there's different cultures involved, and I think you have to definitely take into account that the culture over there is completely different than here. So, it's like accommodating it still allows people to enjoy the art, but enjoy it in a more comfortable setting. Because I think a lot of people would be thrown back by some of the Japanese culture that we're not used to here.
Like squids fucking women and
yeah, it's kind of.
It's like I've seen hentai before. I know where this goes.
You wonder why they have so many koi puns in Japan.
Well, it's actually funny because the Japanese are more sexually repressed culturally than even the Americans are, and the Americans are pretty repressed compared to some of the other European countries. Maybe not so much today, but certainly like 10 years ago.
That explains why the women are fucking nymphos, dude. Because they said that there's more Japanese men that don't have sex over there than any other country. A lot of them just don't have sex because they don't. I don't know why they don't want to, but Jesus, have you seen those women?
It's because they're going through the same thing we're going through, but not with feminism.
No.
Yeah, they're kind of facing a culture clash over there as well. So they're using robots and everything else to.
Yeah, everybody, they're all seeing the same future that the MGTOW guys see, where, the divorce courts or whatever your big fear is for, all that kind of stuff. And it's the same thing, except they didn't really have the same feminist, uprising that we did. And, I can't blame them.
But they got grump trains, man! They got grump trains! I want to be a part of a grump train! Why not?
Anymore.
What?
They put the Japanese government put a law against that actually made it to where I think that it's been a while since I read this article, but I think they made it to where during a certain time men could not ride the train.
There are certain cars. They do have women-only cars.
Yeah,
they cars and times and shit like that.
Right, but exactly. But here's the thing: it wasn't just men doing it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you.
This is part of the problem over there is that the men were being blamed for every bit of it.
Yeah, see, that's bullshit.
So this is the reason why more and more of them are turning into dolls and shit like that rather than women, because you just never know. Like I said, if you have a consensual relationship with a woman, she gets pissed off, says something, and your life is ruined because it's up to you to disprove the negative.
That's bullshit. Because, like, I don't know about you guys, but if I could, like, get onto a bus or a train and I'm on my way to the grocery store and I get my dick sucked, hey, that sounds like a good day to me. I'm just saying, man. Like,
I don't need to go grocery shopping anymore.
I got ass and I didn't even ask for it? Hell yeah. Like, that's awesome. I'm not saying that all women are over there like that, by the way. I'm just saying that I know there's been cases over there that they've looked into where women are just as guilty as doing this as the men are. The men started it, of course, but the
same thing that's happening over here.
Yeah, the women over there are just as perverted, and they're nymphos. They're nymphomaniacs. What they have going on right now is they have men pretty much like trying to be MGTOWs, kind of like they're just like saying fuck you to women. But at the same time, a lot of the women that have nothing to do with it are horny as fuck. They don't want to get cut off from dick. You know what I mean? Like, that's why they have like some of the most sexualized fucking establishments that exist in the world are over there. What do you think?
They have vending machines with used women's panties in them. I mean,
exactly.
Nintendo used
think about
to
it,
actually run one of those hotels.
I know. I was just gonna bring them up actually. I was just gonna talk about how Nintendo actually still owns what they call kitty houses, where like you could go in and it's Hello Kitty everywhere, and guess what? You can get your knob sucked for a few bucks. I'm just saying, Nintendo, you're making money on the side and you're being dishonest with yourselves about your corporate business practices when you know for a fact you own some girls sucking dick. Come on. Let's be honest.
What do you got to say about that, Metro?
Yo, like, and some of those chicks are gorgeous though, dude. Like, I'm like, yo, like, dudes, like, whip your dicks out and please these women. They need dick. Come on. Stop being pussies. Fuck all the ones that are ruining it for everybody else. I'm not, like, here's the thing, man. Like, this is how I look at it. If you're gonna suppress your sexual urges, right? Like, usually people do it for other reasons besides, you know, the political ones. Usually it's, you know, I'm with somebody, I love them. That's, you know, that's my baby. I love her. And we're all like that to a degree, right? But if you're a single dude and you are buying into this shit too much on the internet, if anything, use it as a warning sign. Don't sit there and play into it at 100% and take everything that's being said at 100%. Because when you do that, you're cheating yourself of possibilities in life. Regardless of its sexual nature or not, you're still cheating yourself of a possibility of something new that you could experience. And that is why I don't play into the whole feminism bullshit. Because if I was to play into every third wave feminist propaganda wheel that I see coming around online as a trend, especially on Twitter, dude, I would never be with a woman. I would never want to fuck a chick in my life if I paid that much stock into these fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Really, it's not that bad. Like, I know your government's probably like propagating it into something that it's not, like our government is over here. But god damn, man, those women, like, how the fuck are you gonna, let me put it this way, how the fuck are you gonna live on an island filled with beautiful, sexy ass Japanese chicks and not want to touch them? I mean, come on. Not all of them are fucking are prudes. Not all of them are fucking, you know, proper females. Trust me on this. Let me just say this. Catholic schoolgirls. That's all I gotta say. Are you guys still there? You got quiet.
Yeah, I'm here.
Dude, with the way things are nowadays, you could, like, go to a party and give someone a hug for like 5 seconds too long, and that's a fucking rape charge.
Usually college campuses are doing that. Yeah, college campuses are doing that. And to you guys,
bro, California already passed yes means yes for colleges. The next step is going to be for the actual state.
Bro, like, if somebody tries to limit my sex with my girl, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to like me.
I'm telling you, if they start doing that around there, I'm investing in body cameras.
Won't help that you. Way, can't do that in California.
Well, in Oklahoma, we can't.
Well, yeah. Oh, California. We're already fucked in California.
Strap one to your dick. That way, when she's down there and says, "Oh, I can't wait," then you got proof.
Can't have audio, dude.
If I was
video is okay, but a video is okay if they know about it.
If I was in California, I would walk around.
You can put a sign up on your house that'll tell them that you're being recorded, and that excuses you for video. But audio is always considered federal wiretapping, or not federal, but like felony
Both
wiretapping.
parties have to consent. Both parties have to
Yeah,
consent in California.
it's so stupid. Even like somebody could call your phone, and you legally, I mean, but because you don't have their consent, it's not admissible in court as evidence, no matter what.
Yeah, if they're in California, like if Pete here called me and I recorded him and he was threatening me, if I took it to the cops, I would actually be in trouble because I'm breaking California law, even though I'm in Oklahoma and it's legal here to do that. Because
I don't think you can actually get in trouble for it though.
Oh wait a minute. No, you can't.
I
You
can't.
You can get in trouble.
You
okay,
could,
I can
because it's legal in your
because,
state,
yeah.
but I can't because
Yeah.
in my state it's not, even though it is in your state. Yeah.
Right, and you could get in trouble for wiretapping.
Yes.
That's kind of weird.
That's so ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it's I mean, if I lived in California, like I would have like a briefcase full of contracts, like sexual contracts. But like, look, sign this shit. I mean, it's the start of the night, but before
Won't
you're
help.
drunk, I'll have a notary.
Won't
with
help.
me.
She can say she was coerced or she felt intimidated.
I'm bringing I'm bringing a notary, a judge, and a lawyer with me to drinking every fucking night.
I'm telling you, bro, it's been tried. And this is how you know that the feminists are not all about sexual assault for sexual assault's case. Because there was the people who tried to create an app. They literally created an app, a consent app, where both people loaded the app up on their phone, typed in their own special password, so you couldn't do it to somebody else's phone. It created a time and date stamped file per se, or something that was stored both locally and at the third-party site. So there was, 3 different sources, and everybody had it along with exactly. And the feminists rejected that.
Well, yeah, because they don't give a shit about equality or anything. They just want control.
Exactly.
That's not true, guys.
It's the same thing with sex dolls.
About.
Sex dolls could probably, in a matter of years, eliminate the human trafficking black market.
I'm down for that. Though.
It would be the same thing that happened with ivory, elephant ivory, and the synthetic ivory that some dude created. He could create it super cheap. He flooded the market with it, and all the elephant poachers went out of business because their real ivory wasn't worth it. And there's already been sex doll brothels that have threatened to put out real brothels out of business, and feminists will protest and get the sex doll brothel shut down. And they're fighting the companies that make them at every turn.
All right.
Even though like I said, it could probably get rid of human trafficking at least a huge portion of it.
All right, I'm going to post a link to you, Mr. Nutcase. This is the video that I was talking about. American Millennial
Jay Caesar, that app is not the retarded part. The retarded part is that you need something like that app to navigate the laws that these people have created. That's the retarded part. Yeah. But we're already past that. They're not even stopping at those laws. They want more laws. Literally, yes means yes means you have to keep asking your partner if they consent. And every time you switch position or do something new, you have to ask their consent, literally. And how are you supposed to prove that you did that? Especially if you're not allowed to record them.
You're not allowed to infringe on their rights, right? You're not allowed to do any of these other things, but you're not allowed to defend yourself for any of these situations either, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. You're just like, how the fuck am I going to defend myself on this? Like, is there anything that I can do?
There's literally no defense.
Like, it's like, Jesus, this chick could literally ride you, sit on your face with your arms strapped, and yet you raped her.
Bro, there was that chick who posted that tweet that said, when I get a one-night stand, I always ask the guy to be rough, slap, punch, spank, hit, so they leave bruises so I can claim it was rape.
That is so ridiculous.
And they'll believe me.
So ridiculous, bro.
It's insane, man.
Chick admitted this on Twitter.
It's crazy.
No, y'all heard about?
I think that's the one that everybody was kind of going in on, right? Like they had even a congressman hitting her up, like on the Twitter, telling her that she was special. Like,
Yep.
like, I'm sorry,
And the
Rambo, I
worst
didn't mean to
part
cut
is that people like this chick, they make it horrible for actual assault victims or rape victims or whatever, however a victim of in anywhere in that hierarchy.
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting, man. I fucking hate it.
As you were saying, Rambo.
Did you hear about Matt Lauer?
Who the fuck is Matt Lauer?
He's the
Where
Today Show
in the
host or
world
whatever.
is Matt Lauer?
Oh.
Good Morning America or whatever the hell.
See, yeah, okay. He sounds
Yeah.
familiar, but I
He's-
don't watch it. Yeah.
He's
Yeah, I
been the
probably
anchor
saw
there
him
for-
once or twice.
Been the anchor there for 20 years, but Monday allegations are brought against him, and he was fired 15 minutes before the show started today live.
Wow.
So he was fired
How
based
solid
on
are
the
the
allegations? Yeah, I was gonna say. how
Well,
solid
the
is it?
allegations, they said that it was one woman that brought the allegations, and they said that it was his first report in his over 20 years of working there, but it ended up being. They said that from the report, it sounded like it was kind of more of a widespread problem, and so they just went ahead and terminated him. But it came out that I guess New York Times was working on a piece about him, where they had 4 other women colleagues or whatever that were where he exposed himself, where he locked, like when they came into his office, he had a button under his desk that locked the door. He bought one a vibrator for Christmas and told her what he'd like to do with it. And so
Gotta
there's
give him props for creativity.
there's
I
a lot
know, right?
more. I guess there was a lot more to it, but that was more probably because they knew about this hit piece that they were doing, and so I think that's more the reason why it was he
He
was
got fired so
fired
quickly.
because
Yeah.
they were trying to, I guess, get out in
Get
front of
ahead
the
of it.
story.
Yep.
Bro,
So it's not him of Good Morning America and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So I mean, it just that was a big name getting hit.
I mean, can you
But there was
imagine,
no-
dude, like the audacity to walk into an office, just pulling a dick like a dildo somewhere, and be like, I want to fuck you with this thing. Like, I mean, what the
I
fuck?
don't-
Well, I mean,
I
shit.
don't know how that
He
even
was
works
only
out.
taking a hint from old Slick Willie, and he used a cigar.
I'm
Oh
not
my
really sure
God.
how these things even come up because I don't know. I've worked with plenty of women, and I've yet to ever like whip my dick out or just even
I know, right? You
or
want to
even-
play with my ding dong?
or even think about this shit. I mean, I'm just like I'm looking at you like, okay, you're just a person that I really just want to get away from because you're my fucking coworker. And I don't know. I don't know where these men come up with the idea of like, hey, I'll just whip my dick out. That'd be a good idea.
Right? I mean, I remember
Like-
trying to mack with some just hot coworker when I was doing Baskin and Robbins, and I was like 19 years old. But like,
There's one thing about hitting on them, but just to whip your dick
yeah,
out.
like
or-
that was it. And she said no, and I said okay,
Like,
have
okay.
a nice night. You know.
Yeah, you're done. Move on.
Bro, but like, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's just like,
I mean,
don't
I guess
know.
I was never a big movie star, right? So you know,
But
maybe.
So you have to look at it this way, though, right? Like, how long did that go on for him to feel comfortable with buying a coworker a dildo? Like, I want you to think about that. Like, nobody just out of blue.
That's the Secret Santa, right?
Yeah, right. Nobody out of their right mind just comes up and says, "Yo, I'm gonna buy you an Omnibod. I want you to use this while we're working." Like, no,
Yeah.
that's not how this works, dude.
Not at least before whining some crackers first or something, man.
I know, right?
I mean, Jesus, see if she's into it first.
I mean,
I
Fucking
just- it
plebs,
seems-
dude.
Shit just seems weird, man. Like these men are just like, I don't know. Like there was always jokes about like I guess rumors or jokes about like who Matt Lauer was sleeping with or whatever, and it was never really nothing was ever really proven or whatever like that. But it was always like he was like the playboy of Good Morning America, and I guess it really turns out that it was, those rumors were actually kind of true. But apparently the allegations are pretty damn substantial to be willing to fire a 20-year anchor,
right. Bro, I don't know, dude. Like, I really want to know more about this now because the more and more these things kind of
I want
come
to
up.
copy some of this guy's moves.
I know, dude. Like, right? Like, yo, if you get asked like
Just
that,
make him consensual, bro. Like, come on, man. You telling me you worked in like I don't know if he worked in Hollywood or whatever, but wherever he was working, you telling me you couldn't find some fucking super hot intern that was kinky as fucking down for this shit? Get the fuck out of here.
But that's the question, though. How do we know they weren't down for this in the beginning? Like, how the fuck does somebody go in a coworker status area and get so comfortable with the idea that he's gonna buy them a dildo and tell them what he wants to do? Like, I mean, think about that's ludicrous, bro. Like, nobody just out of the blues like comes up with these ideas. There's got to be some sort of like.
I don't know, man. That does sound like
place.
something I would do, but for somebody I knew better.
That's my point. That's my point. How do we not know that he didn't
Well, that's
think
the thing.
he was
Like,
on the same
if you
page as
get
them?
so rich and powerful, like, what if? I don't know, man. You send like, okay, so say that worked for 5 other girls,
Yeah.
right? And he just got accustomed to it working, and then thought, well, hey, why don't I, like slowly started sending him sooner and sooner after he met him, and then before you know it, it was after, or I mean, before he actually met him. You know what I mean?
The fucking balls, though, dude. Think about that. The balls,
I'm
bro.
telling you, bro. I can see that happening.
You're like,
I can
yo,
see it
girl,
happening.
stuff
Like,
this in
he's a
yourself while we're
good-looking
working,
guy,
huh?
right? And he's working at Good Morning America with a bunch of other good-looking people. Like, I can imagine he slayed interns like it was nobody's business. And I'm sure, I don't know, maybe it could be anywhere from 40 to 90% of it was all well and consensual and good. I don't know. Like, I don't know who this guy is or anything, but
Neither do I, yeah.
What's
I'm
crazy
sure
is
some
that-
of it was. So,
Well, yeah, like,
I
and,
don't know.
and
Yeah,
that's, and
I don't
that's
know.
the thing, though. That's the thing. Like, they leave out the fact that some of these employees, a female, especially like the female employees, are just as fucking perverted as the dudes. And the only time that they call it quits is when it's all of a sudden okay to claim sexual harassment, even though they engaged in the activity themselves. Like, that's what I have a problem with. Like, the people, like, these feminists want to believe that all these women are victims. It's like, come on. You know how many fucking female fucking coworkers I worked with in the past, like, the majority of my life, where they were, like, actually more perverted than me? I mean,
Bro,
come the fuck on.
I literally had this chick slam her hands on the counter and say, I have 3 holes and they need to be filled now, to me and my 2 other coworkers, male coworkers. Swear to God. We all had girlfriends or wives, so we didn't. But yeah, I'm telling you, dude, she was a meth head too. Crazy.
Wait, Angela Lansbury said what I just said, and they're trying to cast her out of Hollywood? Really? Jesus
Because
Christ.
she came out and said that
Rambo?
on the table, your nightstand thing. That's where it was. But no, she came out and said that what's it called? That women sometimes have to take some of the responsibility for the sexual inappropriateness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think
Well, I think the way she worded it was kind of, it was
yeah,
iffy.
it was the kind of, well, no, it really wasn't, because
Right.
her whole interview, at the bottom of the interview, I mean, she like fully explains it, that a woman does not ever deserve it. I mean, it's like, not because
No,
of
yeah.
wearing it like that. I mean, it really fully explained it, but the headline was, Angela Lansbury says, women sometimes are asking for it, or something like that.
They
And
do.
so-
They are. You know, dude, like, check this out. Check this out. So when I was working in the casinos, these chicks were just as bad as me. Like, we would joke around all the fucking time, and it was just jokes, right? And everybody thought everything was good, right? One of them decided to go to HR and claim sexual harassment on all the rest of us. I got the blame while the other 2 chicks were okay. Like, they didn't get any of the blame whatsoever because they were female, right? Even though the report stated it was me and the other 2. Now, this chick was talking about fucking. She was talking about doing it in the randomest places at the casino. Like, this chick literally said some of the worst shit than me, and yet I got the
One
fucking
time,
blame
you put a
for
finger
it.
in her ass, and suddenly she's at HR.
No,
I'm telling you, man.
I never did that shit, but you know what I'm saying though, like fucker. No, but seriously though, like that's the kind of shit we're dealing with. Like you never know who's gonna turn on you, dude. And the moment they turn on you, it's all your fault. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't deserve it. They're the victims, right? And I'm not saying that all cases are like this, but it's funny how those cases are never talked about. Ever. Ever, ever, ever.
No, I'll tell you what, bro. Like, I remember seeing shit like this in high school because I can't remember how the conversation got started, but the basic premise ended up being, you know, does no always mean no? Kind of shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and everybody else, and everybody knows as well as I, that sometimes no doesn't always mean no.
Well, yeah, because it's mixed.
You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah,
there's the no and the giggle when you're tickling them, and there's all sorts of no's that don't mean no.
Yeah.
But the preaching has to be that no always means no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking about that as they were talking about the stupid fucking topic in fucking high school, and just saying, God, these motherfuckers, they can't even. We are not even allowed to tell the truth because of how the truth might look.
Right. Well, it's always been that way. Like, think about it. Like, when you're with your girl, dude. Like, I'm sure there were situations where you're like, "Hey, baby, you want to fuck her?" She's like, "No," right? And she says it in a sarcastic.
Oh yeah, sure.
No, and you're like, "Okay, let's go." You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing, though, right? Like, they don't want to bring in these situations because it fucks their narrative. It fucks their whole ideal process. That the moment the person says no, that it means no. And that's not the case, like you said. It's not always a no. Like, for instance, when me and my girl first got together, it was one of those situations where, like, you know, don't kiss me, you know, I don't want to get in the mood or whatever. And next thing you know, she's kissing me. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
So it's like, what the fuck, bro?
I say the double standard they have about it too. Like, I remember I saw Ellen DeGeneres on Twitter.
Hell?
That fucking cunt.
When the fuck did Gavin get here?
What's up,
What's up?
I'm like, what the
How
fuck?
are you all
Like,
doing?
somebody else just started
I
talking.
pulled him in.
Like,
I pulled him in.
Yeah, right.
I pulled him in. It
you
was
gotta
me.
I
warn
only
us.
just saw
Like, you gotta warn us that we had a hostile takeover going.
Oh, it's going. You know, you just don't know it yet. So,
But as you were saying, Gavin, what you're saying?
Sun Tzu, yeah, I get you.
kind of the double standard they have on it, because I remember her like staring less than 6 inches into Katy Perry's boobs, and she was saying it's time for her to take out the big balloons that she was calling her tits, but she didn't get any shit for it.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Like,
about.
if a dude did some shit like that, even if he was like a comedian,
Oh, there'd be charges brought up on him.
Oh, bro, how about that
It'd be
chick that
so-
ran around a baseball diamond and grabbed the ass of every player on the field before getting dragged away by security? Dude, if a dude had pulled that shit at fucking like a girls' softball event or something, or a, you know, Olympic softball tryout or something, oh my god, bro. First off, we never hear the fucking end of it.
oh
Like,
yeah,
it would be on the news from here to Kingdom Come. And second off,
And
there
this
would be
guy
all
is a
sorts of
whore.
articles about how this is toxic masculinity and rape culture and fuck. Oh my god, man.
like me personally, I've always case should be taken individually, and you know what I mean. I've never really based anything off of, you know, I'll make jokes about stereotypes, right? But when it comes like, oh okay, I thought my freaking Discord just closed by accident.
No,
Like,
no,
what
you're
the
fine.
fuck?
You're good. You're good. I hear you.
As I was saying, I just lost all train of thought. God damn it.
Maybe you shouldn't smoke weed before you get
happens,
in here,
bro.
bro.
I know, right? Gotta
Before I
smoke
got
weed,
in
bro.
here, actually, I did not.
There's your problem.
That is my problem.
We were talking about the Ellen DeGeneres double standard, Gavin. Is what you were talking about. I mean.
Okay, well, yeah, it was a double standard, and I already said what I wanted to say on that. I was moving into something else. No, whatever. Someone just say some shit.
You're good, bro. You're good.
No,
but
it's
I see
always
what
a
you're
double
saying, though.
standard.
Yo, you know what though? This is why I'm so glad that this mind thought that they have isn't the majority. There's still some raunchy ass women out there that just want to fuck and have fun, and they own their sexuality, dude. That's what I love about them. Everybody like makes fun of whores and sluts, and I'm like, I embrace them, dude. I'm like, yo, you guys don't want that shit? Bring it, bring it. Like,
Well, now
I'm a
I
fucking...
remember. More about how the left always likes to categorize, and it's always more of, oh, well, it's not this one white male raped this chick, it's all white males.
Rape this
now.
chick.
All white
hashtag
males
not all
are
Muslims,
raping
but
everybody.
all white men need to answer for the Vegas shooter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
I also think they're the left's like is retarded because they're like, you need to take up and take a stand against, you know, all this offensive shit, but at the same time you can't say anything about offensive shit because it offends people. I'm like,
Yeah, well, that's what we call the regressive left. Anybody that has that and does that is a regressive left member.
I love the saying, or the quote. It's political correctness is the attempt to. Oh man, it's the attempt to handle a turd by the clean end, and it's such a good metaphor because sometimes life is dirty as shit, and people need to talk about that kind of stuff. So there's no way of handling that turd without getting dirty.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what? It's you can't fucking say. There's always something that can be taken out of context. I love Computing Forever. Dave Cullen, he made a great video about political correctness where he used the word FOR as a metaphor, and you know, you ban for, and he made a little song about it. But it's, you know, how all these different things get affected because you can't say this one word that you thought was so trivial, you know, and it is such a fucking nonsense thing that these assholes are trying to pull for stifling freedom of speech and shit.
yeah, no,
God.
I've always thought that any speech is okay with me, to like anything that does not hurt me physically. I do not give a fuck about. Like, come up to me, random person on the street, and call me a flaming faggot. I'd be like,
Right? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
exactly.
Why weren't these kids taught that when they were young?
Well, they weren't. Cause the problem is, this is the same thing about communism. That they can't learn to lose. Okay, communism, theoretically, no one should lose. But what they can't stand about capitalism is that there are losers in society. So they have been grown up to not realize that you will lose.
Yo.
But they don't realize that everyone has the opportunity in capitalism to
Everybody gets a trophy.
Exactly. Everyone gets
So,
a trophy, and it is the most ridiculous thing.
Did you guys watch that? Did you guys watch the video that Julio puts in there, Metal Gear Ops? Did you see that? A teen asked why he was being detained, and an officer responded, "Is because you're white."
Bruh.
Oh, I just caught a glimpse of somebody posted it in a Discord chat.
Yeah, it was Metal Gear Ops that did it. Yeah, I mean that's fucking insane to me, dude.
Should probably not go in there.
And you know what?
Lovely,
you know
isn't
what?
it?
You know what though? Like, I don't know if he did it to fill a quota or what, or to follow, or because he's following the Black Lives Matter bullshit too much, maybe. And he's looking at it as a way of like being a smartass, but that affects people. That's why I don't.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
If that was a white cop pulling over a black cop and saying it's because you're a nigger, would we even be having the discussion of whether or not this guy's racist or, you know what?
Right.
No, it would be this guy's fucking an evil racist, and he must be fired and probably torch his house or something else. Fuck, man. But I doubt that that's making the 10 o'clock news.
No, this cop would probably get a promotion.
Yeah.
If he was in Berkeley, he would.
Right? Berkeley would be all about that shit, right? Like, they'd be like, yo, like, we support this guy.
Dude, Berkeley
Yeah,
is just
what's
so
sad is
fucked up on so many
what's sad
levels.
is most of them are white, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we hate all white." Like,
Yeah.
Do you understand like what you're saying? Like, I saw some white person posting like white people are evil, and I'm like, do you not do you not see the fucking irony in what you're saying? Like, I mean,
Oh, they don't, bro. They totally think that they're fucking the dragon being held up by the poor brown people because she's gonna save them. They totally think that's them, bro. I swear to God.
I'm just like, wow, man. Like oh man.
You can see it if you watch any of those movies where the young white, usually female teacher goes to the poor urban area to teach the kids.
Become a fucking hero and try to.
Oh my God, bro! Those movies are dripping with it, bro. They are. And I didn't even think about that. Somebody mentioned that in like a podcast or something a couple weeks ago or something like that. But yeah, now that I think about it, man, oh my God, some of the movies I've seen or the television shows. Yeah,
that's why I like. That's what I like about that. So those movies where like he's a teacher, he goes by Mr. Smith. Remember that? And he beats the shit out of him. I love movies like that.
I have never seen that.
I haven't seen that either.
It's called The Substitute, I think, is what it's called. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That shit is awesome.
I think that was one of the first R-rated movies I ever saw.
Like the guy's like Black Ops trained and everything, and he goes in, and his girlfriend is the actual teacher, and so he's got his friends make up some documents for him, so he can falsify his credentials or whatever. And he fucks them up, dude. he really goes to town on these fucking guys. Like, I love movies like that because that's something that's like what I wish would happen. Like, you want to clear out problems?
Speaking of people getting fucked up, I've been watching Daredevil, trying to get to the end of it so that way I can watch The Punisher.
Oh, so good.
But after seeing like the little bit of the parts where the Punisher was in on the Daredevil season.
Yeah,
I have to say, like, the Punisher is like my type of hero.
Yo, I'm
like
watching
the Daredevil. The Daredevil is just so. I don't know. He's just so fucking like. He's just like Batman.
He's about being good. He's about being good.
Like, yeah. You get the pussy feel from him. like the. And I like the Punisher. He's just like,
dude, he gets that pussy feeling, but when he deals with shit, he deals with shit.
Oh yeah, he's a badass. Yeah. I'm just saying, but I like whenever the Punisher says, like, look, you put on your little underwear, go run around and take them to the cops, and they're right back out in the streets, a month or two later doing the exact same thing. He goes, whenever I deal with them, I deal with them. They're not doing that shit no more. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way that's a hero that I would be. If I was like Superman or if I was Batman or if I was whatever, I'd be killing motherfuckers. Like, there's no point in allowing the scum to continue getting back out.
One of my favorite comic book
Punisher's
movies was the original Punisher.
Man. The Punisher is a bad motherfucker.
Rainbow, well, I said this earlier in the comment section that I actually think we should have more death penalties, as well as have like
more death penalties.
More death penalties.
You can only have one.
I think he means for more than one, for more things. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. If the justice system was better, I'd agree with you. But we have enough people get exonerated by DNA evidence
and shit like that. Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah, like they don't want to talk about this, but the highest.
If we had a better, criminal justice.
The highest the crime with the highest percentage of people released because DNA and evidence completely exonerates them is rape and sexual assault, and it's close to like 50%. Not total, but of the cases that this one place goes after, and they go after a lot, it's about 50-50.
Well, what do you guys think if we brought back public executions?
Oh, I'm down.
I'm so down.
I'm down.
I'm down with public hangings for serial killers.
Public executions, that fall under. Yeah, I'd watch. Hell yeah.
I've also said that like people who are proven, there has to be facts. If they are proven, then I think they should be put in a room with family members or whoever, and they can do whatever the living hell they want them.
Yep, that's absolutely, yeah.
I guarantee they will. That shit will go down quick.
I've always been an eye for an eye type of justice system. I think that's worthy. But it has to be like these guys are saying, though. It has to be under a better jurisdiction type setting, because right now, like, we have one of the highest fucking ratings in the world when it comes to proving somebody guilty under wrong pretenses or circumstantial evidence. And later they find out that these guys really didn't do it. They've been in jail for 30 fucking years, and they're going to be let out now. And all they get is a, hey, we're sorry, we fucked up, we ruined your life. You know what I mean? So, like...
Yeah, well...
So if we had something that was a little bit better than what we're doing right now to innocent people, then I would be like, yeah, let's do it. But right now, the way the cops are and how much bias they have against people, like, we'd be killing a lot of innocent people for no apparent reason. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want that to happen. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I said that there has to be legitimate proof. They can't just freak. Like, that's another reason why I'm not a fan of anonymous, like, sexual assault allegations. If they're not coming forward, then I don't think it should be taken seriously whatsoever. I think that everyone, like, who says, oh, this person touched me inappropriately.
Well, there's no... Okay, wait a minute. First of all, there's no such... Okay. The anonymous sexual assault thing, it's one thing, like, if you... You got to understand, I mean, the sexual assault thing, I think, is... it's one of the weird things where people, like... Basically, it's more just to ruin the person's... ends up ruining the person's life. But if it goes to court, there's no way the person can stay anonymous, because every person per our Constitution has a right to face their accuser.
Yeah.
So there's no way, if it ever went to court, that this person could remain anonymous. So I mean, at that point, I mean, that's where it really matters, is the court system.
Yeah.
Let's say it didn't even go to court.
But there's no such thing as that for the court of public opinion.
That's gonna. But what I'm saying, that's gonna happen whether the person stays anonymous or the person is out in the open. I mean, all it literally takes is just simply to say, this person sexually touched me, and your life is ruined, because it's up to the other person to prove the negative, and that's not.
Just like Jackie in the Rolling Stone article.
You cannot prove a negative. That's the problem. That's the hard. It's like it's going to be hard for me to prove that I didn't.
Yeah. How do you prove
somebody
that something didn't happen?
But I mean, that's the hard part. And the court of public opinion, like, especially with the heightened, awareness of social media, it's become far too easy to just type a tweet and somebody's life is just completely gone. And
I mean, Lena Dunham wrote that book, right? And then some journalist decided to look up the name that she wrote at the college she went to and find, quote unquote, the guy.
Yeah, and it was a fake thing.
Except that she used a pseudonym, and it's strong evidence that the incident in question never happened in the first place. But even if it did, it certainly wasn't by this guy. And his life was already ruined, and it wasn't until a year or two later that people started finding out that, oh yeah, well, he didn't even know this girl, and blah blah blah, all this other shit.
It was like I mean, I don't know. It's just like, anonymous or not. I mean, I think that the allegations need to be happening on social media.
Oh yeah.
Because I just think that there's a lot of, I mean, shit. I mean, I could be vindictive or hate somebody, type a tweet, and since I'm a man, it doesn't have the same effect. But if I was a woman, type a tweet, and I got my sweet revenge, and since technically, I guess the statute of limitations are over, I really don't have to go to court to prove anything.
Yeah.
And I still got him fired from his job.
And I ruined his life because now he's going to be on everybody's spotlight.
Yep. So I mean, it's just. I mean, I'm not saying that this is happening widespread or whatever, but I mean, some of these allegations are probably fake, and that's the bad part, is because you never know whenever these big mass allegations start coming out. You never know what's true and what's not true, and this whole listen and believe bullshit is just fucking stupid.
Well, I love Lena Dunham trying to say listen and believe, but not against her friend.
Yeah, not this guy. Not this guy.
Yeah, well,
that woman is lying, but women don't lie about rape.
Yeah, they totally don't, obviously, but I don't like how the news channels, they'll be like, oh, accuse this person of sexual assault, but the news channels don't use their resources to even look into it to see if it was true.
Oh, no way. That proper journalism takes time, sir. And time that time does not agree with the 24-hour news cycle.
He's right, though. He's right. I mean, Look at all the shit that's going on in Hollywood. Now, mind you, I fucking can't stand California, okay? So the shit that's with Hollywood does not affect me. In fact, I think it's hilarious. But at the same time, some of those actors were actually really good actors. They've participated in helping people. They've tried to put their best foot forward. And by hearsay, their careers are ruined. So do I agree with it? No. As much as I hate California, and I said to people already, like, I have a strong bias against California. Like, I do.
It's not unwarranted, dude.
So I mean, was it funny in the beginning? Yeah, because some of these guys are assholes. But at the same time, is it right? No.